Welcome to the game Keno. This game is the stupidest game you can possibly play at a casino. The chances of you winning is just ridiculous. So I'm going to explain how the game is played. You get a card that has numbers from 1 to 40 on the top, and the bottom has numbers 41 to 80 on the bottom. So you have the choice of picking from numbers from 1 to 20 different numbers of these 80. And each number you pick, it costs $1. So you could pick 5 numbers and it costs $5, or 20 numbers and $20. So what I did for example is pick 10 different numbers, so it would cost me $10. On the machine that picks the random numbers has the same kind of card. It goes from 1 to 40 on the top and 41 to 80 on the bottom. And the machine randomly picks 20 different numbers as it shows here. They always pick 20 different numbers. And the goal of the game is you picking the same numbers that the machine picks. So the 10 numbers that I picked was 5, 23, and 80 that matched on these numbers here. It was 5, 23, and 80. So 3 numbers are correct that I picked, so I would double the money and I would make $6 off the $10 I spent. And now I'm going to explain how these 20 numbers are picked from the machine. So this game was originally based as bingo, and it's the same concept as it. There's a big box full of balls that are numbered from 1 to 80. And there's a suction tube that goes down, and it suctions up one ball at a time. At the end of it, it'll pick 20. And each of them balls will have these numbers on it, and whatever numbers come up, try to match it with your numbers. As you know, a big lottery win would be over millions of dollars. In Keno, a big win would only be considered about $300, which is just terrible compared to other games. It doesn't make sense to me why a person would go to a casino and waste hundreds of dollars a night on a simple game like this. In certain states in the US, there's different ways you can play Keno. Like some people play it on a TV where they randomly pick numbers every 5 minutes. I can see that being a better way to play, but going to a casino and doing this all night is just a waste of time and a waste of money for any family. And now we're going to explain how the statistics are going to work for the game Keno, and what the chances are you actually winning a game full on 10 numbers that match 10 numbers.
Alright, now we're going to start into more of like the calculations and probability side of this. So to start off with very simple probability, if you had a 0 chance of what you were looking for, so say 0 out of 10, that's pretty much going to equal 0%. It's very simple, and if you had a definite chance of your desired outcome, it would be 10 out of 10, which equals to 100%. Now, as you can see here, it's very complicated, so we're going to ease our way into it. So, for example, the reason why we use factorials is because they're a lot different than using, say, 10 to the power of 10. So, a factorial is very basic, and it's, if you had 10 factorial, it's 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 times 6, all the way through to 1, and as you can see here, you get 3,628,800. So that's just a very simplistic way of going into it. Now for the game of Keno, it starts to get a lot more complicated. So, as Travis has explained, you have a probability of getting 10 out of 10 numbers in Keno. So the number of ways you can get 10 from 80, so this is more explaining on how out of the 80 numbers that there are for Keno, you can only choose 10 of them. So pretty much, we go down through here and we use what's called a combination. So in the game Keno, we're going to go through more of the probability of getting 10 out of the 10 numbers. So as Travis explained, we've specifically chosen 10 numbers out of the 80. So here comes to more of the probability side of the probability of actually choosing 10 out of 80. So here's the probability of getting 10 out of 10 numbers that you've chosen. So here, it's 1 divided by the number of ways you can get 10 from 80. So that is also going to be divided by the number of ways 20 drawn numbers can go into groups of 10. So as we come down here, this is the combination formula, and it's clearly very complicated, but to explain it very simplistically, it's x over x minus y factorial, as we've already explained over here. And the reason why we choose factorials here instead of just using say 10 to an exponent is because 10 factorial is including that we could choose 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5, 4, 3, and 2 and 1. So right here, we've plugged in the numbers from 80, so it's 80 minus 10, because 10 is the number of the numbers that we could choose, factorial, and then it is the remaining number from 80 and 70, so 80 minus 10 is equal to 70, and we're trying to reach 80, so then we add 10 factorial at the end of it. So once we plug all this in, it comes up to 1,006,400,000,000, blah, 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 through these numbers. And on this side, this is 20 numbers that we can choose. There's 20 numbers that are going to be calculated throughout the machine, and we can only choose 20 of them. That's why the C, which is combination, when the order doesn't matter. And we plug it in here, so 20 factorial divided by 20 minus 10, and then as we explained before, over here, we take, since 10, so 20 minus 10, we still have a remainder of 10, so we add another 10 factorial at the end of it, and then this is the number that we get, 184,756. So, over here, the number ends up coming to 1 divisible by here, which is the number of ways you can get 10 from 80, so that's your probability number of how many ways that you can choose numbers out of 80. And over here, the 184,756 is the number of ways that 20 drawn numbers can go into groups of 10. So that's how many numbers that you can choose out of the 20 numbers. So you divide it here. If you come over here, this is the number that we end with. So for each number, you have a 1 in 8,911,711. So basically, the probability of getting 10 to the 10 numbers in Keno is 1 out of 8,911,711. So, as you can see, this is horrible odds in playing the game Keno. One number that out of 10 that you will get, so 10 out of 10 numbers will come up to this. So it's very low odds of choosing it. Hi, I'm Chad. Thank you for watching our tutorial on how to play Keno and going through more of the probability side and I guess the fun side towards it of math and probability.
Thank you for listening to me on how I explain the game Keno. And remember,
Don't ever play Keno.